Hello, and a warm welcome to this video about the Ecovacs X9 Pro Omni. I've had a closer look at it and put it through its paces thoroughly regarding both carpet and hard floor cleaning performance. The robot has a combo main brush. That means we have rubber lamellae and bristles. The robot is also marketed with much fanfare around the blast technology. Warning, a bit of irony now. So Ecovacs has actually come to the realization that airflow plays an important role in cleaning performance. Absolutely groundbreaking insight, hard to believe. And yes, regarding the whole blast topic and airflow etc., a more detailed video will follow soon where we'll also look at some other robots offering high airflow for cleaning. Let's start with carpet cleaning. I always test this with certified test dust primarily and 3 different carpets. That means we have the red carpet here, which has a very dense pile with 2 cm length. Then this dark blue carpet, which also has a 2 cm long pile, but the pile is somewhat softer there. And then the dirt mat at the bottom. Regarding the certified test dust, 10 grams are applied to the carpets quantity-wise. For the dirt mat, that's 5 grams, and I also test the dirt mat again with a spot contamination of 10 grams of sand. That's something that gets brought in from the kindergarten, for example. So my daughter does that occasionally with her shoes and some sandbox sand. The test dust simulates typical household dust and is also used by testing institutes. You can then acquire it as a private person for a few euros. Well, for quite a few euros, but it's doable. Then regarding the cleaning settings. The robot is naturally allowed to clean at maximum suction level here. Double cleaning is generally used. The exception is the red carpet because it has a pile direction, a cleaning direction. That means if you clean it with vertical lines, that's disadvantageous for the cleaning result, at least with this type of contamination, and therefore only the horizontal lines are used there. And additionally, with this robot, the deeper cleaning pattern is also selected, so you can also set how overlapping the robot should drive. And here, the maximum overlap was additionally selected. And regarding suction power, I've already mentioned maximum suction power also in carpet boost mode, because there are devices that can boost a tick higher than the already maximum set suction power. Then regarding test duration. I simulate weekly cleaning for the dirt mat, that means 7 cleaning passes, and for the carpets altogether 14 cleaning passes. I do this because I think that you actually clean the dirt mat manually more often in general, whilst that might not always be the case with carpets. Therefore, you have more of a long-term simulation of dust pickup here. So, usually a manufacturer internal comparison follows here, but since I haven't tested any other Ecovacs device in this manner, we're comparing this straight to other manufacturers. The robots listed here are always the robots that performed best. If something changes with a manufacturer, that's because different models have performed better. With Roborock, it's the case that I probably haven't tested the best performing robot, the Roborock S7, with this type of dirt yet. But now back to the Ecovacs X9 Pro. So as we see here, it performs quite well with 92% pickup here with the sand contamination, the spot 1. But there are robots that extract 100% here. Those are marked in green and representing the top 3 of each test. And we also have absolute duds amongst them. That means there are even robots that don't manage 80%, and that's quite weak. Let's also look at the dust pickup on the dirt mat here. There we also see that the Ecovacs X9 Pro Omni performs quite well with 82% pickup as we've seen, and is then relatively close to a Dyson VisNav or a Roomba S9. The only robot that has extracted 100% here so far is the AEG RX 9.2. And there are even worse robots that perform significantly worse, and the devices shown here, especially the UFi S1 Pro, the UBP TV10, and the Vorwerk VR7, these are also the only devices from the manufacturers that I've tested so far that I haven't tested with this type of dirt yet. Now the blue carpet with the very soft pile. There the Ecovacs X9 Pro Omni is in 3rd place. It performs quite well there, even surpassing a Roomba S9, but then has no chance against a Dyson VisNav or an AEG RX 9.2, which perform 1 or 2 levels above, but the X9 leaves quite a bit of competition behind that doesn't perform so well there, and much of it languishes around the 60% range. That has different reasons, partly due to the brushes, but also how well the devices can actually vacuum or not. And there are also duds like the UFi S1 Pro, which falls off quite considerably from the middle class again, but the Ecovacs X9 Pro is really doing quite well here. Finally, the most difficult carpet to clean, that's the red one with the very dense pile, and there the Ecovacs X9 Pro doesn't perform nearly as well anymore, as we see here with a pickup of 33%. It's inferior to many other devices from other manufacturers that were always placed in the middle range before. And you're quite away from reaching the level of a Dyson VisNav or an AEG RX 9.2. The devices from iRobot and UBPET are also a bit ahead. And you only beat duds like the Eufy S1 Pro, which really performed very, very poorly here. But this also shows how important it is to test different carpet types, because depending on whether you only test one carpet, you come to different conclusions, quite apart from the type of dirt. This also shows how important the interplay of brush design, brush head, how well it seals against the carpet, airflow, and actual vacuum is. That's where such significant differences come from, that you really perform well on one carpet and not on another, and really good devices generally manage to vacuum all carpets to a reasonable level across the board. And there, the X9 Pro Omni falls quite a bit behind the top competition. Finally, my hard floor test. Here I again use certified test dust. It's a bit finer compared to what was used for the carpets, but it also simulates typical household dust that you find on hard floors. And as seen, 0.45 grams of dust were applied to the test surface. I then let the robots vacuum 8 times first. So 8 cleaning passes in a checkerboard pattern if possible, and also with maximum suction level. And then after these 8 passes, I check the surface with a microfiber cloth. It's a bit textured. Is it dust-free or not? And we see here with the X9 Pro Omni, unfortunately that's not the case. This is also a relatively poor result again. For hard floor cleaning, there are pure vacuum robots that get this done without problems. More about that in another video. What we see here now is typical for combo devices. And since we have combination devices, I then let the devices clean the surface again in mopping mode if it looks like it did here with the X9 Pro Omni. That means double cleaning, mopping only. In the case of the X9 Pro Omni, minimal suction level and mopping came together simultaneously here. That's simply because the device doesn't have a mopping only mode. So you can't simply manually select for it to drive straight to mopping, but you only have the option here to let it vacuum first and then mop. But I didn't want to ruin my test setup here through a possible error. That's why I did it this way. So I believe this minimal vacuuming alongside doesn't change the result we see here for the positive. After a 10-minute drying phase, I look at the whole thing again. We see the surface looks good, unfortunately not the joints. Dust remains there. That's not the case with vacuum robots that can vacuum well. That means they're also vacuumed out. Here, with the combo device, good contact into the joints is also missing again. The contact pressure is lacking. That's also a typical combo problem that we have here with the mopping roller. With rotating mops, that's a problem. With the mopping roller, that's a problem here. So, in summary, the hard floor performance is not particularly good for dust contamination. Now to my conclusion on the cleaning performance of the X9 Pro Omni. With the exception of the red carpet, the carpet cleaning is quite good, but unfortunately it never reaches the 100% mark, which is particularly annoying given the blast advertising promises. One must keep in mind that even in my tests, these are still rather superficial dirt particles that are then embedded into the carpet by the robot itself. In this context, the rather poor hard floor performance in relation to dust contamination also stands out again. The use of the mopping function is also mandatory with the X9, and it doesn't perform significantly better regarding dust than mopping functions with rotating mops. It simply lacks the contact pressure that is necessary for somewhat roughened surfaces. There are pure vacuum robots that remove this dust contamination flawlessly. Additionally, the mopping roller creates disadvantages in corner and edge coverage. That was everything. A like and subscribe would be great. Additional support options are linked in the description.